Culture is power, history is knowledge. Chicano ideas. YouTube channel. Me giving my thoughts and point of view about culture and community stuff that I've learned throughout the years, learning it for the first time and sharing my thoughts and my point of view on if you guys know this and understand this, what you think about it. So remember, always leave your thoughts and comments. So let me talk about finally something after 2 years of everything passing by, my thoughts on how when I seen everything starting to come together of what I've talked about through YouTube, Chicano Sureño Unity. If you watch my videos, I've talked about it. I've made videos. I had videos of my uncles talking about Norteño and Sureño stuff, and it had like 15,000 views my first 2 years, man. I had a video, like, it was crazy, but it was told that it had to be taken down because influences, my uncles being from hoods at the time, and they were like, man, we don't really like y'all being on there speaking on that. And I had to drop these videos, 5,000, 10,000 views my first 2 years, my first, not even my first year, like when I think about it, because so it was like 2016, I had a video talking about Norteños and Sureños, and it had 15,000 views, but it was told that I had to take it down by my uncles and stuff, but being from their hoods and people seeing it that they knew. So, talking about this Norteño Sureño stuff and some of my old videos, I had a video that I deleted last year. I just kind of didn't like the way I talked about it. It had a couple thousand views of talking about Norteño Sureño unity, and people just, even back in 2015 when I was first podcasting, people telling me like, oh, you shouldn't be speaking about this. Who are you to speak of? You're a dropout. You're a nobody. You can't talk about this stuff. Why would you talk about this stuff? Why are you bringing your family members, having your uncles speak on this? I had these videos out, and too bad they weren't kept on record on other phones that I don't have already 8 years ago. And so now to see over 5 years later from me making those videos in 2015, late 2015, early 2016, having my uncles talk about Norteño Serrano Unity, and them getting both of those videos, getting 15,000, one getting 6,000. And my uncle's videos were blowing up, and even their homies seen it, and they were asked. I got a phone call saying, hey, can you take those down, nephew? And that's how the politics was, even within the 2016 year, my first year, and I had to take those down. And so like now I was and hearing homies coming out like, hey, this is going on. This after 16, after during 17 is when I started hearing more about the unity, and I had a homie that's like, yeah, bro, it's happening. And then it was going by, and then seeing like more Chicano YouTubers come out in 2018 from LA mostly. It was like, okay, that's pretty interesting, giving their stories and point of view. And then 2 years ago, for a year, I didn't pay attention to anything. And when I came back to paying attention, I seen Cholo Trucker versus Gunner. And I started learning about Gunner and Flaco and Rojo. And I was like, whoa, when I was listening to the stuff that they were talking about and dropping the 14 bonds and all this, I was like, whoa, like I was surprised because there was no Northerners, so-called Norteños, or nobody on YouTube are never really expressing themselves on YouTube, so it was like, well, now I was like, to me, when I seen this, I was like, okay, like the Norteños are like, they're trying to make a move then, like, and my point of view from learning and everything, like, man, they're trying to like come back. They must be trying to make a comeback. They have to be like, how are these guys just dropping this, not a game, this influence, like there has to be some type of agenda. I was like, is it, my own thoughts before I understood everything was like, man, is it because, all these Chicanos are acting like brothers? Is it because, LA does have more Chicanos and everybody from NorCal to SoCal claims Sureños? And then like, it's like, man, it's crazy. Like, wow, and then all this Nor record is coming out. So then you hear about, those three fellas not being active, not being good in the street politics. Everybody started learning that. I don't know. I don't remember on their first video. I don't know. Pay attention to see if they talked about it right on their first video. Like, this is me and what I'm about. But as I learned, and then by the time the fight happened with Cholo Trucker and Gunner, it was like, okay, I knew what I knew about. I just about started knowing, like, okay, what's going on. Some people supposedly didn't know the politics of active and non-active, and so, so to me, it was like, well, okay, well then, well, what's the agenda still then? Like, how is this gonna help? Like, who's gonna back these guys up if they're not, you know, being able to be accepted amongst the people who are supposedly their peers that they could identify with? So, as that first year of 21, and by the fight, it was like, well, you listen to stuff and stuff that I heard and learned before, it was like, wow, well, what is this idea then? Like, are these guys really, not active? Are these guys really not dropouts? Because it's like, well, look at what Rojo's talking about, stuff that I heard before growing up in San Jose, but my uncle's like talking about how they faked being dropouts, and so it's like, well, of course, because one, if these guys, came up on YouTube saying we're active, you're gonna get shut down quick. So you have to play the game. You have to come up on YouTube saying we're not active. We're not active, and it's like everybody's surprised that that they were able to carry on so long, and it's like, well, I don't know, maybe they dropped hints on you, maybe you didn't know your game as much, maybe you didn't pay attention as much, maybe everything's all according to plan. Some people just needed to make sure it was there. Maybe it was all a part of the plan, all part of the agenda. You don't know anybody's uh status on pulling strings. People, you know, I don't know. That's the way I thought of it. That's how I started thinking of it. And you hear their stories, and it was like, okay, well, it's just like, well, what is it? It helped. It helped with the movement. Whether if these guys have good status or not, with their bad status, they still helped push this agenda either way. How is that? How is all these people that they interviewed, all these guys who used to be this and that also, how is it not now, everybody looking back on the cards and seeing people got cards dealt with wrong, and redefining the game as in, all right, look at these are people we could forgive possibly, because when we look at the game, the card was dealt wrong. We know Foods was cheating, being slick and sly. So for the importance of politics, we could have set people back, but we also know, we have to come at it a different way. I don't know. That's how I was thinking about it after everything. It's like, what if everything is worked out to plan? But what if not? Hey, these guys, they're in their position, but whatever they are, they helped with it. These guys being uh, not considered, you know, as being accepted amongst good standards, they still help push this and bring this unity together, and that's true. You gotta admit that. And after everybody found out their status not being good, it disappointed a lot of Chicanos, the Northern California community, because we were looking for people for some so-called hope to push the name, the narrative, and give Northern Cali Chicanos a face and a voice. But you think of that as overall what needed to be done happened, and it's happening. So Northern California, Southern California, you know amongst the people who are from the barrios and who grew up around it, help support the unity, help share the unity, help talk about those who talk about unity on YouTube channels with your family and friends. And, you know, that's it. Peace.